I have a project coming up that needs a water tank to empty itself every time it gets full. That means I need an automatic siphon. Now of course I could use the bell siphon, and I may actually turn to that if my U Syphon here doesn't work. But to test out my U Syphon, I'm going to be using a bucket. Got a 3/4 inch piece of pipe. I've got two 90-degree elbows there, and then 45-degree, and then a Uniseal. If you've never used a Uniseal before, I recommend them. I'll put a link in the description so you can buy them on Amazon. The first thing I need to do is put a hole in the bottom of my bucket. Now this Uniseal, a 3/4, uses a 1 1/4 hole saw. So I'm just going to come in here and very slowly put a hole in the bottom of the bucket. Let's see, that thing's in the way. I might put it over here on the side some. Okay. That's a nice hole. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit here. To get this Uniseal to work, I'm just going to take it on the top side here and push it into the hole that was just made. It's going to be a pretty tight fit, which is exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so the design we need is going to have a 45 coming up like this. It's going to have two 90s, and then the other 45 coming down like that. Makes kind of like a question mark shape. So between each of these is 1 inch, so I need 1, 2, 3 2-inch pieces cut. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's get this cut down here. I'm going to use angle grinder with ear protection and glasses, of course. Okay, so I'm going to take these pieces that were just cut here and hopefully get this together. Now I can come back later and glue these in if need be. Okay, flatten that out a little bit. Nice. Now we need to cut lengths here for coming out of that bucket. Let's see what the measurements are we need for the next part. So the bucket itself is 14.5 inches tall. So if I want this water to stop, let's say about where this second lip is here. So I need to make the standpipe in here. Let's say I'm looking at 8 inches there. So let's do 7.5 inches for the standpipe. And then the other side can be, let's just say 10 inches. That'll give us plenty out the bottom if we need to adjust. So 7.5 and 10. So you'll notice that this side is lower than this side. So what I want to do is have the standpipe here. So water is going to come up this, hit this, and it's going to have turbulence because it's going to hit this, and then go out. So hopefully with so much resistance it'll be able to pull that siphon down. So I'm going to get the shorter piece here and connect it over here, and then this piece is going to go on this other side, and it's going to go out of our bucket here. So with this unisil, I'm going to get some spit here, or water, whichever you prefer to use, and I'm just going to get this ready for this pipe to go into. And you basically just kind of push on it till it goes in. And it's quite a solid fit. Alright, so take a look in there. It's just got that little U, and there's maybe ½ inch from the bottom there. And that's what it looks like down here. So definitely in there nice and tight. Let's go give this a test. I've got a garden hose. I'm just going to start filling this up for my test here. Now, the actual test will be using a ram pump, so there won't be nearly this kind of pressure. Okay, let's see where we are now. So the water's still got a couple of inches here. I'm going to slow it down a little. So much for being able to see in this test. I'm going to get down here so we can see what it's like when it starts coming out at the bottom. Okay, it's starting. Here's some bubbles. There we go. Siphon is started. So I'm not sure if my ram pump will be supplying this much water. Now for test 2, I'm going to get this up close to the starting point again, and then turn the pump or the hose down to about this level. So there's not much, like I'm sure it's probably less than a gallon per minute. That way we can determine whether or not it'll start with this low input here. Boink. Alright. Get all this suds out of here again. Sorry for that. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to turn it real low now, and we'll see how well this starts with the water not moving very much in here. So let's see what's good. Thinking about like that. Okay, that's been sitting for a bit, just filling up. I'm gonna get my other angle down here going. So we'll see if this will pull the siphon. I hope so, because this is kind of the design I would like to use in my project that's coming up. It may have just reached some kind of equilibrium and not able to pull that siphon. So to remedy that, I can add a little bit more turbulence in there, or even reduce the pipe down some, which would be fine. So let's see what happens when I block this a little bit. Yep. So I reduced it some. I think it's going to pull it. Well, I'm not sure what happened there. Well, I would consider that to be a successful first test. So adding, I think down here, a reducer from 3/4 to half should stop the water just enough that it will pull that siphon, because you can still pull a lot of water through a 1/2-inch pipe as far as draining a tank goes. So applications for this, I was thinking if you had a micro hydro system that you wanted to run, you know, from a, let's say a ram pump was filling that bucket and it wasn't enough to just keep that thing going all the time, you could fill a tank, you know, however many hundreds of gallons or thousands of gallons, and then flush it all at once into a micro hydro system. Just a thought. May also be a good way of flushing out something you need, you know, like for me, I'm going to use a tank that needs to be cleaned out. It's going to actually have ducks in it, just to give you an idea of where I'm going. So fill a duck pond, you know, it takes however many hours to fill it to the brim. Ducks make it nasty in a hurry. Flush it out, start over again. So thought it was a really fun idea. Thanks for watching. If you've got more ideas on how to make the U Syphon work better, I'd love to hear it. If you would plop those down in the comments. If I can't get this to work with the low flow of the ram pump, then I will probably go with a bell siphon, which works pretty much the same way, but maybe a little bit more reliable. Thanks for watching. I'm Seth Johnson with Land to House, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.